I'm sure most of you probably understand what I mean by the title of this video, but for those of you who don't, I will quickly clarify. What I mean by late bloomer is one of two things. A, the player took a long time to become a full-time NHLer after being drafted, or some of these guys actually were undrafted. Or B, the player could have been in the NHL from a young age, but took longer than usual to hit their peak. There's definitely an example of that in this video. I'm only going to go over 5 players, so if there are any late bloomers that you know of that we did not talk about in today's video, be sure to let me know down below in the comment section. If you guys do enjoy, be sure to leave the video a like. That is the best way to show your support, and most importantly, if this is your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and now let's begin. Brad Marchand, everybody's favorite NHL player. Marchand is one of the examples in this video of a player who was in the league from a relatively young age. He played his first full season with the Boston Bruins at the age of 22, but he definitely didn't hit his peak until later on in his career, and at the age of 32 right now, Brad Marchand only seems to be getting better and better. Now that being said, Brad Marchand has always been a productive player pretty much ever since he broke into the league. In 2 of Marchand's first 4 full seasons in the NHL, he broke the 25 goal mark, hit the 50-point mark as well, but I don't think anyone believed Marchand would develop into one of the best wingers in the NHL, a game-breaking offensive talent who could put up 100 points in a season like he is now. Let's take a look at Brad Marchand's points per game by season through his first full 6 seasons in the league. The highest points per game that you can see on the screen was the 2015-16 season when he had a .79 points per game. So looking at all of those numbers, those are still some pretty impressive results, especially when you consider Brad Marchand was a third-round pick. However, they definitely weren't star numbers. Nothing Brad Marchand was doing was screaming potential superstar. Now let's take a look at Marchand's points per game by season for the past 5 seasons. It's a pretty jarring difference. He became a superstar kind of out of nowhere. I mean, especially the past 4 seasons, all above a 1.2 points per game, and this year at the age of 32, he's rocking a career-high 1.29 points per game through 49 games. He just continues to get better. I mean, some guys will peak in their early to mid 20s but then fall off by the time they're in their early 30s. Brad Marchand seems to be the complete opposite to that. So Yanni Gourde is kind of the reason why I'm making this video. He definitely inspired it. In the Red Wings' most recent game against the Tampa Bay Lightning, it was mentioned that Yanni Gourde is 29 years old, and I kind of found that really hard to believe because it doesn't feel like he's been in the league for a very long time at all. And that's because he hasn't been. His rookie season, his first full season in the NHL, was the 2017-18 season, a rookie season in which Yanni Gourde played extremely well for the Lightning. He had 25 goals and 64 total points in 82 games. The only other 2 rookies in the 17-18 season that scored more points than Gourde were Keller and Barzal. And in the case of Matt Barzal and Clayton Keller, I still view them as young players in the NHL today. That's because in their rookie seasons in 2017-18, Keller was 19 and Barzal was 20. Yanni Gourde, he was 25. He was a pretty old rookie. And I guess I kind of just completely forgot about that when I was surprised the other day hearing he was now 29 years old. Despite the fact that Yanni Gourde was an undrafted player and didn't make the NHL full-time until he was 25 years old, he has already carved himself out a pretty solid career. He's a Stanley Cup champion, has over 180 points and a little over 300 NHL games played, and he's making north of $5 million a season and will be through the 2024-25 season. Yanni Gourde is one of the many hidden gems that Steve Yzerman was able to find throughout his tenure as GM of the Lightning. I tried to shy away from choosing goalies for this video because they usually take a lot longer to become full-time NHLers than forwards or even defensemen do, but that didn't really work out because Jack Campbell is the first of 2 goaltenders we're going to talk about in this video, and Jack Campbell is a pretty interesting case. He was a very high pick by the Dallas Stars back in the 2010 NHL draft. He went 11th overall, but Campbell only ever wound up playing a single game with the Dallas Stars, and actually up until the 2017-18 season, he had only played 2 total NHL games. And in the 2017-18 season with the Kings, he only played 5 games, so throughout the first 8 years of his professional career after being drafted, only 7 NHL games under his belt. The 2018-19 season is the first year where Jack Campbell actually saw a good chunk of NHL action. He played in 31 games with the Kings and put up some pretty impressive results. He had a .928 save percentage in those games. Fast forward to now in 2021, at 29 years old, Jack Campbell is the starting goaltender for the Toronto Maple Leafs, or at least he is in my eyes. Even if Freddie Anderson hadn't gotten injured this season, he wasn't playing well. I think Jack Campbell would have taken over as the starting goaltender anyway, or at least I think that's what would have happened. I mean, you never know. Back in the 2018-19 season, like I said, Campbell put up really impressive results for the Kings, but still only played 31 games, and Jonathan Quick played 46, and Quick sucked that season, so I don't know. Anyways, the point I'm trying to get at here is, now in 2021, over a decade removed from being selected 11th overall by the Stars, he is now a solidified NHL goaltender, and a good one at that. And I'm really intrigued to see what the future holds for Jack Campbell, especially in Toronto, if he's who they decide to go with as their starter moving into the future. I feel like a lot of that depends on how well he performs in the playoffs. For a pretty long time, former NHL defenseman Mark Streit held the record for the most points by a Swiss-born player in NHL history. I think it was actually all the way up until sometime earlier this season when Roman Josi was able to surpass him. Mark Streit definitely had a pretty interesting career path. In most cases, prospects are drafted to the NHL when they're 18, 19 years old. Streit, however, that definitely isn't the case. He was actually selected in the 9th round of the 2004 NHL draft by the Montreal Canadiens at the age of 26. He would eventually make his NHL debut with the Montreal Canadiens in the 05-06 season as a 27-year-old, and this actually wound up being a pretty solid selection by the Habs. Even though he spent the majority of his career with the Islanders and the Penguins, he did give the Canadiens some very good seasons, especially in 07-08 when he put up 62 points in 81 games. The only defensemen in the league that season with more points than Mark Streit were Sergei Gonchar, who put up 65, and Nick Lidstrom, who put up 70. Overall, Mark Streit had a very solid NHL career, mostly as an offensive defenseman, racking up over 430 points in over 780 NHL games. He also won a Stanley Cup with the Penguins towards the end of his career in 2017. It's pretty interesting to think about, what if Mark Streit had played in the NHL from the age of 20 years old instead of starting when he was 26. He probably could have been up there around, 600, 700 points, which is very good for a defenseman. Saving the most legendary for last, we have the late, great Johnny Bower, a Hockey Hall of Famer, a member of the NHL's 100 Greatest Players of All Time list, 2 Vezina trophies, and he's one of the most impactful players in Maple Leafs history as he won 4 Stanley Cups with the Leafs throughout the 1960s. In my opinion, one of the things that makes Johnny Bower's career so impressive to look back at is how old he was during his best years. As you could tell by the thumbnail of this video, he won the first of 2 Vezina trophies at the age of 34. He then won his second Vezina trophy at the age of 38, and he was 40 years old when he won his final Stanley Cup with the Maple Leafs in 1967. It's pretty crazy that the Maple Leafs have still yet to win a cup since then. And since we're here talking about Johnny Bower, a fun fact about him, which actually has to do with his age, he actually lied about his age to join the military in World War II at the age of 15. Not only did he have a legendary NHL career, Johnny Bower lived a pretty interesting and eventful life. If you've never read his autobiography or anything like that, I definitely recommend you go and do so. So that is going to wrap up today's video, going over 5 NHL players who were late bloomers. Like I said at the start of the video, if there are any NHL players you know of that got started late or peaked later on in their career that I did not talk about in today's video, be sure to leave them down below in the comment section. And if you guys did enjoy today's video, if you could, please be sure to leave it a like. That is the best way to show your support. Also, if you guys would like to stay connected outside of YouTube, you can go ahead and follow my social medias like Instagram and Twitter. The links to those will be down below in the description. And if you're interested in further supporting the channel beyond just liking the videos and subscribing, the option to become a member is there. The link to it is down below, or you can just click the join button, which is next to the subscribe button. Members gain access to exclusive member-only perks. All the information is there when you go to sign up. And lastly, and most importantly, if this was your first time checking out the channel and you want more NHL content just like this, be sure to hit that subscribe button, and I will talk to you all in the next video.